Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson here. Coming up on the Buffalo Stampede, a huge weekend for Colorado basketball as the Buffs sweep the LA schools right here on this very court. We talk with Jeriah Horne and the great McKinley Wright. Also, we're talking skiing head coach Richard Rokos as the Buffaloes are coming off a second-place finish in the RMISA Championships. Plus, women's lacrosse wins, and we meet our brand-new strength coach for the football team, Shannon Turley, all this week on the Buffalo Stampede.
Touchdown! Touchdown, Colorado! And the Buffaloes find the end zone!
How about that?
Beautiful shot from Colorado can celebrate.
Here comes Ralphie and your Colorado Buffaloes.
She'll take it. Maya's good from out top.
Let me hear you, Buff fans!
She's gonna fire the shot. Goal, Buffaloes.
Holy cow! What a play by Colorado! For three, they made him pay!
Key to Silva. Hits high on the right side. Jeriah Horne for three. Stop placing behind him. Jeriah Horne fakes, drives, backs his way down in the paint. Fades against Mobley. On the left side, Maddox stands. Cross court on the right side of McKinley. Lob it in the paint. Taken by Horne. Spins, fades, fires from the key. Circles back around. Gives off to Jeriah. He's open for three. Oh, he just lit. Well, it was a huge victory for the Buffaloes. Jeriah Horne was on fire, and the guy we're talking to right now fed him the ball over and over and over again. He ended up with a 14 assists in that ball game. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Buffalo Stampede. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, McKinley Wright, sporting that Tyler Bay Dallas Mavericks jersey. Look at that deal right there. As the Buffs have a huge weekend, knocking off the first-place team in the league back-to-back. USC by 18, UCLA by 9 points. That's a heck of a weekend right there, my friend.
That's huge, man. That's huge. And they're two really good, improving teams. They got good players from top to bottom. And so do we. We think we should be in first place, and we know we tricked off a couple games that we should have won, but that we put that behind us now, and now we're showcasing how good we can be. So just a matter of sustaining it and keeping it up.
That USC game, I mentioned Jeriah was out of his mind. He had 24 points. He ended up with 14 assists. You must have felt every time you threw it to him, it was just going in, right?
Man, I didn't even know I had 14 assists, but I did know when I was throwing it to him or Deshaun or Maddox, it was going in. The one to Eli was going in. So the first play of the game, I got an assist to Deshaun over the top and circle. But Jeriah was lights out, man. He was lights out. So that was a big-time win, big-time performance from Jeriah, and I'm proud of him.
What an addition he's been to this roster to come in, a one-year guy like this, and the way he shoots the ball. And maybe most importantly, McKinley, and you as the leader of this team can talk about this, the way he came in and fit in the locker room, right?
Yeah. That's the most important part. His character. He's a firm believer in God. He tells us he loves us multiple times.
Yeah.
Jeriah always sends us long texts and express his feelings for us. So we knew he'd fit in right away. And the crazy thing is, Jeriah and I were supposed to be teammates 3-4 years ago. He committed to Nebraska, and he was a year ahead of me. Nebraska offered me a scholarship, and he was DMing me on Twitter. So I've been knowing Jeriah for a long time, and when this opportunity came, I spent an hour and a half on the phone with him.
Nice.
Just talking about life, talking about his experiences at other schools, talking about how I can better him and how he can better me. So I'm glad we came together.
I like that. He went from being recruited to being the recruiter in that circumstance.
Yes,
hey, after that victory by 18 points over USC, the Buffaloes, in fact, have knocked off the Trojans 6 straight games. It was a heck of a celebration in the locker room.
That was a big-time win, guys. We beat a good team. That team's been playing really, really well. They got a lot of talent. But guys, we do too. And that's the only way you get respect. Every time I'm in our film room, I see, respect can't be learned, purchased, or acquired. It can only be earned. And you earn respect by wins like tonight, okay? And you guys guarded your tails off. We battled on the boards. Your new personnel did a great job, made everything tough for Mobley. Just a great Edie, unbelievable job, Eli, on Edie, and everybody that was on him, okay? But it was team defense, and guys, we had 20 assists. That's when we're at our best. We're at our best when we share the ball and move the ball, okay? And nobody has an agenda, okay? Jeriah made some big shots there in the second half, okay? And guys, we're a good shooting team. We haven't shot well the last, it's time for it to happen. So now we've got one piece down. Now we got UCLA.
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
Had a pretty good party after the Buffaloes got an 18-point victory over USC in the locker room. We continue with McKinley Wright. Colorado comes back then 2 nights later and knocks off another first-place team in the Pac-12, UCLA, by 9 in this one. Totally different ball game, Ken. Now that game we talked about with USC, you were distributing the ball. Your team needed you in the first half to score. You had 17 the first half. I'd imagine that was probably a decision you were making out there. Hey, someone's got to find the points. It might as well be me.
Yeah, I seen the ball go in early. The basket got bigger for me. And my teammates just kept telling me to keep going, and they were going to keep going with me. So, I tell you guys this all the time. When I got the coaching staff and the teammates that believe in me the way they do, it makes my job so much easier. So, big credit to them.
I don't need to tell you this. You know this better than anybody. When Tad Boyle talks about this program, it's about rebounding and defense.
Yeah.
Down the stretch of this ball game, you guys had to make plays. And I think you won it last, 6-7 minutes on the defensive end.
That last 5:35, man, we were up 8. I think it was 6 or 8. And in the huddle, I told my team that, we get stops the rest of the way, we're going to win. We don't even got to score the ball no more. Just get stops the rest of the way and we'll win the game. And, they all, bought into it, and we got stops. 8 out of the last 10 possessions, we got a stop. So that's big time, man.
Great stuff. We didn't have the 11,000 here for senior night, but still you had friends and family.
Yeah.
That was a special moment for you out there in the court, wasn't it?
For sure, man. It was special. Former teammates, I had Dom Collier in here, put him on my ticket list. And I had my family, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, my brother, my cousin, they all made it. So, it was a special moment. I'm glad they were able to come out.
I love it. Well, congratulations. Let's keep it going now. One more,
yes, sir.
And let's go to the postseason.
Let's do it.
All right, McKinley Wright and the Buffaloes sweep those 2 ball games against USC and UCLA. Coming up next, we're going to talk to his teammate, Jeriah Horne, here on the Buffalo Stampede.
It's been a dream of mine. I grew up as a Buffs fan, as I watched the games when I was a kid. But I got here because of the people in my corner. I'm going to be grateful for that opportunity for the rest of my life.
Coach Boyle and the staff here, they really changed my life by bringing me over here from the Netherlands. So appreciate you guys for that. One of the best things of being here is the most supportive group of teammates in the country. So I appreciate you guys. I love all you guys.
As soon as I came here, as soon as I stepped on campus, saw the environment, met all the guys, all the coaches, I knew this was the place I wanted to be. And these last 2 years have been amazing.
I'd like to thank the coaching staff. Y'all took in a kid that nobody believed in from Arvada, Colorado, just down the road, man. Y'all took me in and believed in me, man, and when nobody else would, and I appreciate you guys for that.
I came in here in 2017, a skinny dude with an afro. I'm leaving here with a little bit of muscle and a beard. I want to thank my teammates. Y'all big time, man. I love seeing y'all grow up just as much as I see it in myself.
More of the great senior conversations after the Buffalo's senior night game as they get a 9-point win. That's a huge weekend. You knock off both times the Buffs played over the weekend against USC and against UCLA. They were playing the team in first place in this league. That's a heck of a weekend to knock off 2 teams like that.
Man, and just credit to our coaches. Obviously, the rest of the team with just our focus, competitiveness. But we just came out here and, we gave it all we had.
I want to talk more about the UCLA game, but let's go back to USC for a second. You had one of those nights as a scorer. It seemed like you were just out of your mind out there. Was that bucket looking as big as it seemed?
It felt like it, yeah. But I want to give credit to my teammates, again, just for, looking for me and just being so inclusive within, our schemes and looking for me and trying to get me in right positions to, put the ball in the hole.
Yeah, McKinley did have 14 assists in that game against USC, and I think the bulk of them went to that guy right there. I mean, every time he threw it to Jeriah, I think it was going in, so yes, you had a good percentage of those. This UCLA game, though, this was a gut check. I mean, McKinley kind of carried this team in the first half, and you kind of found your rhythm there in the second half, didn't you?
Yeah, he definitely did. We say McKinley is the head of the snake, and he took us under his wing that first half, and then, we were able to make some big plays down the stretch, and I think that's what, a team is about. It's not just about one guy, but everybody making big plays, as the game progresses, and I feel like that's what we did, and we were able to come up, with the victory tonight.
When I sat down here in the set, I said to Jeriah, that three-pointer you had 7-8 minutes left, somewhere in that range, was a dagger in this ball game. Did you know it was going in?
Yes, sir.
Of course he says that now, right?
It was just one of those shots, though, that, I feel like I've prepared myself to take big shots in big games. Yeah. It being senior night, and like you said, them being number one in the Pac-12, We needed it. We needed it.
He ends up with 10 points and 4 rebounds in the 9-point victory over the Bruins. And afterward, we heard from head coach Tad Boyle.
Yeah, I thought just our depth and our ability to close the game out by making plays. And, you know, when we played them in L.A. Back in early January, they made the plays down the stretch. They got the stops down the stretch, and they made the shots down the stretch. Tonight we did that, and our guys played with great toughness, great belief, and great heart. And that's what you have to do against UCLA. UCLA is a good basketball team. You have to beat them. They don't beat themselves. We were dialed in there down the stretch. Great win for our program and our team. On senior night, to have 7 guys that, you know, are so articulate, well-spoken, and just wonderful human beings, to see them have success. And, you know, UCLA came in here last year, for those who don't remember, and ruined our senior night. And that's the risk that you have of having it after the game. But I wanted these guys to get a chance to thank their teammates, their families, and their fans personally. And with 7 seniors, you can't do that before the game. So kudos to our guys.
Head coach Tad Boyle after the Buffaloes knock off back-to-back USC, then UCLA, as we continue here with Jeriah Horne. Really, this ball game, and when you follow this program and you hear Tad Boyle talk about it, he talks about 2 things. Jeriah can almost quote this for me: rebounding, defense, right? I mean,
yes,
that's
sir.
what it's all about. Defense really won this game down the stretch, didn't it?
Yeah, I think Coach Boyle said out of the last 10 possessions, we stopped them 8 times.
Wow.
So that just shows that, you know, it really does, because, you know, we came out with the victory.
When you got here, and he's been a guy, we've talked with Jeriah before on the various shows, you've always been a scorer.
Mm-hmm.
You really had to understand, though, when you come into this program, what that defense in that court means to this program.
Exactly. And I wanted to come here for that challenge. I wanted to prove that, you know, I could play defense at a high level. And, you know, Coach Boyle from day one has pushed me, and, you know, I'm seeing it come all together now.
What do you think about when you think about your 1 year here at the University of Colorado? I think I wish you would have come here 3-4 years ago.
Right.
Spent your whole career. What do you think
Right.
about it?
Man, it's been a blessing. I am, you know, caught off guard by how great it's truly been. Just in 1 year, the relationships that I've built, the fun that I've had, like I said, like crying and, you know, shedding tears means that, like, you know, you truly love the people that you're around. And I do, man. I cherish these moments, and I will for the rest of my life.
There's a bumper sticker you see here in the state of Colorado. It says, "I'm not a native, but I got here as quick as I could." I think that's the way Jeriah's thinking about it. Now, you guys, you look at the way that things are going right now. You knock off USC. You knock off UCLA. You've got Arizona State in a makeup game coming up on Thursday. You got the postseason. You want to kind of continue this high level of play going forward, don't you?
Exactly. You know, with being played multiple years at this level, it's what's most important. You know, those games prior when we, you know, lost some, you know, we believe we should have won.
Yeah.
We took that and added it to, you know, the fact of this is how we want to get better, and this is what we need to do to improve so that we can, you know, win these big games later on, you know, down the line.
Love it. Keep
Yes,
up the
sir.
good work.
Well, do appreciate it.
All right, Jeriah Horne, the Buffaloes come off 2 big victories over USC and UCLA with Arizona State coming up on Thursday night. Coming up next here at the Stampede, we're going to talk some skiing with head coach Richard Rokos. Now, there's some images of the sophomore from Norway, Magnus Bo, who's having a great season for the University of Colorado ski team. Back at the Buffalo Stampede, Richard Rokos, head coach for the Buffaloes, joining us as the Buffs are coming off the championships of the RMISA and finishing second this past weekend in Utah. So, Coach, let's get an assessment. You feeling pretty good about that? Give us your thoughts on what went down.
Well, I wouldn't complain. Obviously, second place is not bad, but it's not as good as first place, so somewhere in between. We have some strong skiers. You mentioned Magnus Bo.
Sure.
He was pretty much winning everything this year, except his last race at regional championship. He was second. So again, it kind of set the tone for overall result.
Talk a little bit more about Magnus. I mean, as I mentioned, he's a sophomore out of Norway. What he's doing, he's getting into some rarefied air in terms of number of races won, where he is in skiing history here at the University of Colorado. Talk a little bit about him as an athlete, what he brings to the table, why he's such a phenomenal skier for the Buffs.
You know, obviously he had fighter spirit.
Mm-hmm.
He crashed on a bike in the summer and knocked out the teeth, broken jaw, all kind of injuries. So
Wow.
he had to come back, and he came very quickly. some bodily injury as well, but he's exceptional human in terms of performance, and he can push the limits mentally, physically, beyond the regular standard. So that's what's winning attitude.
I was going to kind of ask, I love asking coaches about specific athletes and their position and what qualities make them great. Being a Nordic skier, is it that ability to push through, that where you're just not going to give?
It's about threshold of the pain, and as far as you can push it, that's the winning formula, because sometimes there is not enough oxygen, there is not enough breathing capacity, muscles are burning, itching, and whoever has that trigger in his brain a little further, then that can be.
Well, we're going to continue talking with Richard Rokos about the ski team, but the CU lacrosse team picked up its first victory of the season over the weekend against rival DU.
Yeah, it was really exciting. It was our home opener, so we came out with a lot of energy. And, being senior, I've never beaten Denver, so coming off 2 hard losses, we really focused in this week and got the W, and it was really fun. And especially with COVID, we didn't really think we would have any fans, so having our friends and family out here was really fun and special. Yeah, our defense played amazing. We've really been working on communication and everybody stepping up and owning their role, so that was really exciting. And Julia played amazing, and our whole defense did too. We'll take what we learned from this game and really push it forward to Oregon. They're a good team, and so it'll be exciting to play at home again.
Talk a little bit about the women's team in Utah this past week. Maybe not the start you wanted, but they finished strong, didn't they, throughout the competition?
They did. Obviously, we have a strong team, and all across looks to me. At this point, Utah has a little more on the top of us, and until now it was 6 scoring 3. Now will be 3 and 3. So it will level a little bit level the performance.
Right.
And we'll see how this will go.
Well, we mentioned the NCAA Championships coming up in New Hampshire. What do you know about the courses out there that you're going to be skiing in here in a couple weeks?
We were there not that long ago. We have an NCAA Championship 5 years ago, or 4 years, in fact. So it's the same hill. None of them skied it before because they came after it. I know how it looks like. I can tell them. We are talking about it. We are trying to modify our training at Eldora or anywhere we go to bring some similarity to it. And it will be eastern snow. We'll see how good. It's always a challenge, for Westerners coming from here, having all soft snow and powder, and then we come there, rain, freezing, all kind of issues.
Well, when you're talking about the difference in snow, for those of us who aren't heavy into skiing, the conditions, does that affect the Nordic more or the Alpine more when you get to different conditions like that?
It can be double-sided.
Really?
In Alpine, yes, they are actually begging for it because they can get a little more action from the edges, but if you don't train it, you don't have it.
Yeah.
Some Norwegians, they come, they do it, but they don't have it anymore because they lost it here. Nordics, they can miss the wax very easy because it's something what we don't have here too often, and wax for Nordic skiing, it's absolutely essential. So.
Well, the NCAA Championships in New Hampshire getting it away on March 10th. Coach, good luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, ski coach Richard Rokos joining us here at the Buffalo Stampede. When we come back on the other side, we're talking to the brand new strength and conditioning coach here at the University of Colorado with the football program, Shannon Turley.
The 1 minute mark of quarter number 3. Brookshire, the snap, the handoff, he gives, and Bell takes a shot right there and gets his bell rung for no gain. Right up the middle.
Nice, a phenomenal Buffalo. That's Nate Lamb, the linebacker for the Colorado Buffaloes. He's going to be in the weight room with the next guy that we're talking to. Back at the Stampede, voice of the boss, Mark Johnson. He's the new strength and conditioning coach here at the University of Colorado, Shannon Turley. Shannon, congratulations. Welcome to the University of Colorado. We were just talking before we went on. I know you've been here for competitions. You're getting to know Boulder a little bit. It's kind of a unique place.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. It's a great opportunity. I'm really excited to be here, grateful for the chance to join the Buffs, and loving Boulder so far.
Kind of give us a little bit of background. We know that you're at Stanford, so you're very familiar with the Pac-12, obviously. And there you helped recruit a young guy named Chandler Durrell. That worked out okay for Stanford and for the University of Colorado. Now his dad's a coach here. Was that kind of the beginnings of how that relationship started and eventually maybe helped get you back here to Boulder?
Exactly. I had the chance to meet the family in the recruiting process, and in that role, my involvement was more on campus and getting a chance to speak about our program, tour the facilities, and I use that as an opportunity to really dive into the depth and detail as much as you can in 15-minute tours and 30-minute presentations about our philosophical approach. And so I think that's really where it all started. And having the privilege of coaching Chandler as a committed guy, hardworking, detailed, you can see where he picked up some of these traits.
Yeah, without question. His dad, as they say, the apple didn't fall far from the tree, so we fully understand that. Give us a little background here for Buff Nation out there. Where do you come from? Where are you originally from? You got a ring on, so I'm assuming you bring a family with you, huh?
Yes, sir. I'm originally from Bluefield, West Virginia. It's a small town in southern West Virginia.
Okay.
And grew up there, went to high school there, went to school at Virginia Tech, got a degree in exercise science and nutrition, a minor in chemistry. Okay. And that's really where I had the opportunity to get involved in strength and conditioning. I wanted to play football there, but I wasn't talented enough. And so I found my way into the weight room as a volunteer, and that really helped launch my career. And went to the Kansas City Royals, worked in AA baseball there. Great opportunity working in professional sports, and different dynamic than coaching collegiate student athletes and different motivational strategies, and really having to prove yourself as an asset to those pros and how you can really benefit them. And that's where I really got into the injury prevention side of the sport. And then I was a graduate assistant at the University of Missouri for 2 years, and then moved into a full-time role for 3 more before I had the opportunity to lead my own program at the University of San Diego.
Okay.
And that's where I met Jim Harbaugh and worked for him as the head football coach there, and worked with all 16 sports, in fact. And then that led to me having the opportunity to go to Stanford, and that's where I met my wife, and we created a family together and are excited to be here in Colorado.
This is such an interesting position, I think, in sports, and I'm not sure a lot of times that fans fully appreciate what your position means to a football program. I've had you have coaches say that, when we're out in the off season, you're the only guy that is bringing the culture and the message from the head coach to those student athletes. I mean, there's a lot of responsibility with this job, isn't there?
It is. There's a lot of challenges and a lot of opportunities. And so in a new situation for me, I've got to learn how we do it here and what are those principles that are the foundation of the philosophy that Coach Durrell wants to impart in the team, and then echo and spread that message and do it with a level of authenticity about myself. And I think that's what's really positive is Coach Durrell and I share that same passion for attention to detail and a systematic approach to everything in the way that we teach, and want to instill that in our players and install that, if you will, in our program. So I've tried to be very patient first couple of weeks here, but the expectations for our players are rising every day.
You think about when the average person out there thinks of the strength coach, they think, okay, you're going to go in the weight room, you're going to lift a lot of weights and get strong. Period. But you just touched on something a moment ago. You talked about injury prevention, flexibility, athleticism, in attitude, the mental approach. All those different things go into what you do, don't you?
They're very important to that, and it's got to be integral. So we've tried to create a very comprehensive approach to our sports performance program and be more than just strength and conditioning, right? Those are two important realms, but as it's evolved, you have to be able to cross over into other areas of expertise. And so I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to lean on experts in sports nutrition and sports medicine and sports psychology, but those are also concepts that I have very much ingrained into what we do. Because of my previous education and experience at the University of Missouri, for example, I earned my master's degree in education and counseling psychology with an emphasis in sports psychology. So there are concepts like goal setting and teaching players how to reframe challenging situations in their brain and to prepare themselves mentally and create a mindset and a mentality that defines the way that we work and our value system. That's critically important to that holistic approach that you need to be comprehensive in a player development program.
It's really got to be rewarding. I think, you get, I've said many times over the years, when you're talking about student athletes, and in your case for football, you get here, there's an 18-year-old boy, and he leaves leaves here a 22-year-old young man. You get the raw material when he comes in, and the frame may be there, but by the time, it's got to be rewarding for you 4 or 5 years in when you see that young man walk out of here, and he's big, and he's strong, and he's healthy, he's a better athlete, he's got an opportunity to play at the next level. That's going to be very rewarding for you.
It is, and that's what I love most about collegiate athletics is being able to have that tremendous impact. And they're still at a very malleable age, and they're impressionable, and they are growing, and they're learning, and they're adapting, and so they're very sponge-like, if you will, and they want to soak in all that you have to teach. And that's really what I consider myself, is more of a teacher than a coach. And I'm trying to teach life lessons and life skills through football, and you can find a lot about yourself out in my realm, where everyone's equal. And talent really isn't the determining factor. It's about your technique, your effort, your attitude, and do you have the mental discipline to do your job to the best of your ability, time in and time out, so that your teammates and coaches can count on you. And that's what we're trying to teach.
There's something perfect as we're sitting here talking to Shannon Turley and him developing guys, and he got one of the great buffs of old time, McKinley Wright, shooting buckets in the background. That's what he's talking about. That's kind of maturation you look for in a student athlete. Congratulations. Great to have you in the family.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Mark.
All right. That's the brand new strength and conditioning coach for the University of Colorado, Shannon Turley. And that'll wrap up this week's edition of the Buffalo Stampede. I'm voice of the boss, Mark Johnson. We'll talk to you next time.